Hello everybody, welcome back. Let's have a look at XRP. I know, but we're going to do it because yesterday it had a really big move, and I made a clip on the from the Patreon live streams about what we were talking about, and we kind of missed the boat really. The signals are all there, and we'll just go through them very quickly. A really good signal generated down here. That's where your cross was. This was your average buy price, about 62 cents, and cheeky span above price, and obviously the price above the cloud. So three components which mean that we'll get a trend form, and obviously the trend formed. Well, we didn't see this at the time. I hadn't noticed it. I hadn't looked at it, but that's what it did. That's what it got, and it's carried on at the moment. The only way that this would be a void signal now, which obviously has already yielded quite a large move, is when this cheeky span here, this little squiggly line over here, touches your price action. That's your get out of the trade signal, or when the blue here touches the red here, which is also a get out signal. So we don't have those. So as far as this trend is concerned, it's still in play technically, according to this indicator, for those who obviously picked it up or took the trade at the appropriate level when the signal is generated. So that's how to use this indicator in this fashion. Really good if you were to ever notice them, especially 4 hours. Dailies are the best. Dailies, you see those indicators on dailies, those three components of the Itchy Cloud together. We've made trades before where we just traded that signal generating. You could easily, I'll say easily, but it wasn't uncommon to do something like a 10x. But this is a 4 hourly, so we can't, and it takes XRP as well, so we can't be expecting anything quite like that. But the idea is you trust the indicator to tell you to get in, you trust it to tell you to get out, and at the moment it's not told us to get out. We've got an incoming golden cross here on the 4 hourly as well, which is good. And we've also got that on the Bitcoin pair as well. So two versions of the same coin showing strength, which is good. There's not a great deal of difference between these two. This didn't get the continuation of trend signal on the Bitcoin pair. It got a pump move instead, and so if that's the case, which it is, you could argue that's already played out, so you'd think about taking profit on this one at that stage. If we go to the daily on the Bitcoin pair, where did we reach? Well, we reclaimed the 200 exponential. That's a big deal for the moment. Came down today to get supported on it, so about 1868 sats. Big deal there, to be honest with you. That's a big deal. And if we have a look at the momentum over here, it's very high, very, very high. So it does make it feel pretty vulnerable if it were to pull back. And I think there is a pullback coming, not so much for XRP on its own, although this looks like a shooting star candle, which shows that the sellers are in force. That's your 200 exponential on a daily as well, which is a big deal for XRP. But mostly it's because Bitcoin has shown decent strength, and it needs to retest, I believe anyway, it needs to retest a few lower areas. If we look down here, what we've got here, this little box that I've put in here, that's your CME gap from last week. Now it doesn't mean it has to retest that immediately, but it's there to be retested. It's also at a very strong level of support, which is the $41,000 zone. The CME gap is about 40,400 to 600, so it's a small little gap, but it's there. And if we go back in time, looking at this on a horizontal basis, we had supports here, more or less resistance here and here, and here, and then obviously this marks the absolute peak of the massive bull run, the major portion of the bull run that Bitcoin had 2020 ending in 21, and that is like a big deal. So this is a very, very strong level of horizontal support. It's also 10 exponentials there in the daily. We've got the CME gap there as well, and if we go to the 4 hourly, there's a golden cross forming there as well. So all of this area down here is extremely strong support. So if, and what I believe is when, Bitcoin decides it wants to come down into here, which might be today, might be over the next few days, might be weeks from now, who knows, but I think it's inevitable that it will test this zone. This will be a major area of support for at least a very significant bounce for not just Bitcoin but probably the overall market, because most of the market's just trending with Bitcoin. There's not many charts that are living outside of the shadows of Bitcoin. So Bitcoin needs to show stability or strength for all these other coins to flourish. And we noticed that there was a lot of other altcoins out there with all these similar signals to XRP. Some are generated already, like VRA was a good one, that moved like a beast yesterday. XRP, there's a lot of other altcoins. The majority of the ones that we looked at on Sunday night we're generating the same signals on the 4 hourly. So there's hope for a lot of other altcoins out there. It's just that they are not, we're looking at 4 hourlies, so they're like, some are like 12 hours behind, a day behind, maybe a few days behind in confirming those signals, which is why some have moved much more aggressively than others. Unfortunately, some haven't got the signal, and surprisingly, some of the signals are not generated on what you would imagine to be the strongest coins, like Solana and Luna. But some of these other ones have done really well, and most of the time when you get these signals that we've seen on the 4 hourly, it's because they've been down for a prolonged period of time. So I was saying a couple of weeks ago, I said we want altcoins to go down and stay down for a prolonged period of time, because that's when you get these kind of signals brew, and these are the ones that you want to take advantage of. Fortunately, we missed the boat on these ones, but there is still some other ones out there that you can still take advantage of. But I say miss the boat, I mean, it's not completely over. If we think about a retest of the CME gap, that's a pullback to the tune of about 6% from where we are right now, from the top to the bottom of that. And again, you only need to dip your toes into the CME gap, you don't need to fill the whole thing. So about a 5 to a 6% move for Bitcoin. You think about what that would mean for XRP, especially after coming up so high, it would definitely accentuate the move that Bitcoin did. So if we think about what a 6% move would be, there's nothing really there at the moment. The 20 exponential move up there, this is a 4 hourly, so every 4 hourlies that ticks up quite dramatically. I think it's more likely that we do have a much bigger dump on this one in order to pick it up at a much better price. I would be looking for this golden cross to be retested, to be honest with you. I really would. And golden crosses, they're not signals in themselves, but what they are is they show signs of momentum and strength building or weakening. You can see this one here, this is your death cross. I mean, this yielded an enormous amount, and we look at these all the time. 4 hourlies are often the best way to play golden crosses and death crosses. If we think about this, it's pumped up to the inevitable death cross. We'll measure it from the bottom here after the cross took place. So a conservative estimate, there's a 46% move, from that. You can call it a signal if you like. Another one took place here, we dumped straight afterwards. Golden cross formed over here, we had a nice big move up, and this is all in the context of a much larger consolidation. So plenty of price action taking place within just this formation alone. And again, this is just a 4 hourly. So 4 hourly golden crosses do most of the time yield much bigger moves than the daily one. This is where you get in early, I suppose. So we'll be looking for that to happen. But at the moment, I think we have to cool off for a little bit. Bitcoin, I'm pretty sure it wants that CME gap filled. But again, it could happen today. Could happen later on in the week. Might not happen, but I think it probably will. And because of the area that it's at, it'll be an enormous bounce from there. And if it's not, dead. We'll be looking to trade XRP based on Bitcoin's pullback. So we've had our fun now, it's not all over. We'll keep our eye on Bitcoin, use that as our overall indicator of the market pulling back, which I think it wants to have a pullback now. Watch XRP lose a lot of that value that it gained over the last couple of days really, and then look for a bounce, hopefully lower towards the 70 cent zone, which is more or less where the 200 exponential is right now. Obviously with every 4 hours these tick up more and more, so the support will be higher and higher every 4 hours. Right, I'm going to leave with you there. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you have a nice day. Take it easy.